Good afternoon. My name is Alexander Cologne Stotz, and this is my wellness plan from my health class for personal health and wellness. The first three things I learned from the course is one, how to examine what I eat and maintain a healthy diet. Two, managing my physical and mental health through exercises and techniques. And three, examining stress and its effects on the human mind and body. So one of the issues I come across in my behavior is having to manage my how much I intake in junk food and having to break out of the cycle whenever I get a snack from the bin or from the counter whenever snacks are present. And basically what I would have to do, instead of in my mind saying what if I want to get a cookie or a bag of chips to sate my inner lusts for food between lunch and dinner, I would particularly limit within a daily basis, or at least within a weekly basis, to try to limit the amount of junk food I intake throughout the 24-hour period. However, it's not a good idea to completely 100% cut yourself off from junk food, as it's highly unlikely that you would break the tendency of wanting to eat more junk food. You'll just build up the desire a little more than it needs to be, rather than gradually lessening the amount of junk food you intake. And it's best to try to seek out more healthier alternatives rather than having a overall basis centered around eating junk food. Another thing another behavior I'm willing to change is within the next 3 months is expanding my diet. And that's trying to lay out a plan for me in order to provide those benefits and ensuring that I stay nutritious and gain the amount of nutrients that I need from a variety of foods regarding fruits, vegetables, as well as in some cases even non-GM genetically modified foods. And to ensure that you have to recognize the problem in this issue. And my problem was trying to eat separate amounts of foods in different types of foods rather than staying in one general area of foods, which is what I have been doing, and that's been posing a problem. And if you don't diversify the amount of food that you eat, it can lead to physical health problems. And if you have a lack of cholesterol, which I have had at times, that can lead to a heart disease, and that can be a delicate issue that must be avoided. So, body composition and weight management. Generally, you need to focus on four major categories when wanting to maintain your weight and have a overall healthy body composition, which is water, protein, minerals, and fat. Those are your four main categories for your everyday needs that you must retain and have an intake of. Predominantly water, which water definitely consists of a majority of our overall weight, as well as other healthy aspects in which water must be gained on a day-to-day basis. And you must keep a healthy diet and a habit within a weekly basis as a recommendation. Otherwise, it may become a health issue if you do not retain these everyday needs. This video right here gives a overall description laying out the highlights of what body composition is, what your overall everyday needs are, which is water, proteins, minerals, and fat. Gives a more in-depth synopsis on that, and I highly recommend looking at it if you are more curious about it and learning more about wanting to maintain your body. Nutrition is very important, like one of the main everyday things that you need to intake is water. It's one of the most important nutritious sources of maintaining your health. And you also want to diversify and gain a substantial amount of foods across the board. And that can come from a variety of aspects as shown in this food triangle. You want to go very much into a variety of areas of gaining nutritious intake in food, like eggs, nuts and seeds, gaining whole grains, vegetables, which consists of carrots, apples, tomatoes, oranges, bananas, so on and so forth. However, you must also pay attention as to how much you take in with a different variety of foods and how much that contributes to your overall health. And you should not exceed limits, as it may also lead to problems of going above and beyond. Like if you drink too much water, it can pose grave problems to your health. You should not drink an excessive amount. You should try to maintain a average everyday amount, as it shows right here, at least 5 to 8 glasses of water daily. Physical activity. It is essentially important for every human being across the spectrum that you must be very active in maintaining physical health. It is a heavy requirement to ensure that you retain a healthy way of life. And you can do a variety of exercises that can help contribute to a more stronger cardiovascular and respiratory systems throughout the day. That can be jogging every day. You can go on a hike. You can play some sports, tennis, golf, soccer, so on and so forth. So long as you do everyday activities within at least half a day, less, you can go further, you can go lesser than that, so long as you contribute in some aspects to your everyday health physically. What I say is this, though: if you can spend lots of time contributing to reading books or like looking through your phone or going on the computer, playing video games and so forth, I say you can also contribute the same amount of effort into doing physical activity if you are able. Having a mentally stable health is very much a key essential thing as much as maintaining your physical health. Maintaining a healthy mind is very important to have. One cannot coexist without the other. If you have some difficulties trying to maintain your mental health, you may go through some traumatic experiences that affect your everyday mood, your limits your activities, maybe through work, going out to socialize, spending time with others, or secluding yourself from society and just staying at home for a period of time. It's essentially important to try to go out a little more, to try to see if that'll help improve your mental health if you are struggling with any psychological problems like depression, going through whatever traumatic experiences that I've listed. Jogging is one everyday example that you can take. You may just want to go out for a jog just to take your mind off of things, explore your environment, think more about what goes on around you and how it feels, what it retains within yourself that builds this feeling, and those feelings can help contribute to your mental health boosting over a period of time. Managing your stress is also important. Now, what is essentially important to understand is that there are different types of stresses, both that can help contribute to your everyday environment and how you manage things in life in either a positive way or in a negative way. Maintaining a positive stress is like eustress, is like trying to contribute well to your overall health, whether physically or mentally. And that can go in a variety of ways, like here in this diagram, where you could meditate, take some practices in yoga, whatever forms that may bring forth a feeling of overall improvement to your health. Exercising going out more often, spending time with nature, sleeping well throughout the days, like at least 8 to 9 hours, is the overall recommendation for a majority of young and average adults. And trying to stay in contact with others, get more involved in socializing with your friends and family, and eating more often is great ways of having a positive amount of stress to help you throughout your period of time. And that's something that's very essential in motivating yourself and having a better healthy management. First and foremost, when I started off in the semester, I listed out some things that was required by the course, and that's regarding my story. Me trying to, since I've moved to North Carolina, I've wanted to adapt to a newer setting rather than living in the northern part of the United States where it's more colder versus down the south where it's more, to some degree, a little dry and hot and very heated. So that's been an exciting way to adapt. I've also learned to cook my own meals rather than relying on my mother and my older brother to cook my meals. At some point, we all have to be blunt, grow up and contribute in our own ways in an independent manner. And that has there have been a variety of things that have been difficult for me to try to manage, adapt, and overcome with my learning disability. My plan is to go to after I graduate with Associates of Arts, to go to UNCG to get a master's, to get my bachelor's, and then go forward with a master's or a doctorate in history. And I'd say that particularly it's been managing my health and wellness through this course is trying to ensure that you manage and maintain yourself throughout your life, both mentally and physically, in a variety of ways that can contribute to your overall health. And that is a good way to manage your overall health, is to do things in a more active way. It is a way to innovate, to expand on yourself, and to improve yourself throughout time. More things that I have learned is throughout learning in this course is that there are definitely food industries and corporations that have their own agenda to produce food products that can be very beneficial to, and I put quotes on beneficial because it benefits them for their products to be sold on a grand scale. And they try to some degree, manipulate these products to taste good, try to strike the correct amount of sugars, fats, salts, and so forth that can help grasp the taste feeling when your taste buds come in contact with this food. And once the strike happens, you want to have more because it tastes good, and you want more, and you want more, and you want more. That's the purpose, the agenda of these food industries. I also learned a variety of great things regarding the major benefits in wanting to be more physically active and going beyond my own limits, as well as trying to retain my mental health and other things that can help improve my everyday life. And that's been gaining the in-depth information within the assignments I've taken has helped me gain some insight, like the mental health assignment, where I learned a little more about the perspective of people who have gone through bipolar disorders. That it gives a major perspective in seeing what the environment is like for them, how they feel, what descriptive terms they use to overall paint the picture of what life feels like for them when living in a great amount of emotion, the peak of their emotions, their positive emotions, feeling happy, feeling energetic, and so forth. And then the next second, everything just completely collapses into a negative point. But that's that's just one thing in particular. To conclude this, one thing I have identified with in my components of wellness is one is cultural, which it involves me embracing my religious faith in Christianity, as well as learning more about the key aspects of my family heritage on one side of the family, my family being Hispanic, and trying to innovate myself and improve myself more on trying to speak Spanish, learn more about the Puerto Rican culture and many other Hispanic cultures throughout the globe. And that is an essential thing. Another social wellness point that I have to consider also is me being an introvert. I am very much a shy individual, and I do struggle at times with coming up with the right words and trying to retain some level of coherency. And that has been some aspects of struggle, but me speaking out a little more, contributing more to the conversation and interacting with a variety of people can help limit my shyness to a certain degree, but that will not end to a degree that I would like, but it is progress. Another thing that contributes to my overall component of wellness is environmental, where the places that I've lived, learning the environments in which has shown me things that I would like to learn more of within the environment, and seeing how precious things are when you live in the setting that you live in. Another major thing that I would conclude on with my components of wellness, one is the emotional component. And this involved me encountering my parents when they told me that they were going to have a divorce back in 2010, 2011, between that period of time. And at first, when they told me, it didn't affect me, but at the same time, I think inside me, it was difficult to really adapt to it, especially since I have a learning disability. Situations like that can be difficult without you realizing it at first. And I was a very shy individual, so that also didn't help. And another thing is my last component of wellness is being more physically active, trying to go out a little more, take the baby steps necessary to build up on my physical amount of contributions to my overall health. And that's, as listed, taking walks to class, jogging on the weekends, and doing physical activities at home like push-ups, pull-ups, doing yoga, and a variety of ways to help me stay physically active. And that concludes my overall wellness plan